Hello, this is Freakality, and welcome to Arbitrary Analysis, a place where I look at games in depth and try to come up with something smart. Success may vary. This episode will be dedicated to Braid and the way it deals with incentive. Now, mostly everyone out there has probably heard of Braid. Famous indie game from 2008, made by the well-known indie game designer Jonathan Blow. And when it comes to analysis, everybody knows how ambiguous the game can be when it comes to its story. But I'm more interested in the way the game's design tackles incentive. Of course, to reach that discussion, we need to talk about the end of the game. So, as you probably guessed, this video will be filled with spoilers, so proceed at your own risk. In the most basic level of narrative, the story is about a guy named Tim, who's looking for a princess that was apparently captured by a monster. We could talk hours and hours about this and discuss twists and non-linearity in gaming, but we have to get this out of the way quickly. And really, what can I say about it that hasn't been said hundreds of times? The game starts in Chapter 2, introducing the initial concept of time travel, and the basic overused concept of save the princess, but done with some sense of class. And of course, it ends in Chapter 1, with the game's shocking reveal that while it was making you believe that Tim was rescuing the princess, he was actually trying to kidnap her all along. And the monster he referred to was, well, actually the guy that saved her from you. We have to stop here for a little bit to discuss the overarching theme of its narrative. It may not be the same for everybody, but to me, it's about longing for goals that aren't worth achieving. Tim wants the princess, but is blinded by his desire, and doesn't understand the implications of his actions. This goal doesn't deserve achieving, much less wants to be achieved. Many of you have probably heard about the atomic bomb theory regarding the quote-unquote true meaning of this game, and although I won't get into it in detail, I just want to address that my interpretation of the theme still fits very well with that theory. Because, well, building the atomic bomb can be seen as that type of goal. Now, what's all this incentive talk we're having here? Well, that's where the game's secret ending comes in. It is now common knowledge that in this game there's a secret ending that needs a very specific, frustratingly hard, and very long set of steps to do, which can also be easily blocked after attempting to finish the game if you have no idea what you're looking for, therefore just allowing you to get the normal ending. The entire quest of this ending is symbolized by a set of 8 stars that the player must collect 7 of before reaching the final, or first, however you might prefer to call it, level. The stars form the Andromeda constellation, which is artistically depicted as a woman in chains. You can interpret this however you will, but I think it can easily fit into any of the theories. But what is the secret ending? What does it show? Well, that's not really the question we're gonna be making, but it's still very important. First though, let's analyze this whole idea. Anybody that has even attempted to reach this secret ending will tell you that the steps are so incredibly obtuse and unenjoyable that it really begs the question, is it even worth it? I mean, there's no real incentive to do it, other than because it's there. It isn't even addressed by the game at all in any way if you fail to do so. The only thing that barely hints at its existence is the empty constellation in the beginning of the game, but that can easily be attributed as one of the main stylistic decisions when it comes to its backgrounds. Really, you don't even know it's an empty constellation until you get the first star for it. If so, how did most people find out about this? Well, they read about it, or heard it from a friend. Basic word of mouth. It became this legend. The legend of the secret ending. And it's not like the game lets you figure out that it exists after you finish the game. The game won't even let you. You need to restart the game completely. This quest requires you to forget all about your previous progress and focus on where these hidden objects are. It's borderline obsessive. Now that's an interesting word. Obsessive. How else would you describe the intentions of the main character to reach his, beloved? Once we learn his true motives. Isn't our lack of incentive yet amazingly tempting need to reach this fabled ending similar to the kind of unhealthy behavior Tim presents when searching for his underserved goal? I don't know, but it's an interesting thought. But alright, what is the secret ending about? Well, it's nothing but the cornerstone of that atomic bomb theory I mentioned earlier. When you reach chapter 1 and play the reverse level, you are always stuck to the bottom of the screen, as the princess stays at the top. Initially it seems like she's helping you, but you soon realize that she's just trying to stop you. Now, if you actually manage to get 7 out of the 8 stars hidden throughout the game, you can use your time travel powers to outrun the princess enough to get to the top of the level and actually reach her. And what happens when the player touches her? She explodes! This is the part that single-handedly created the atomic bomb theory. Everything else is basically built around this. The theory is basically set around the concept that the princess represents the atomic bomb, and that Tim is one of the scientists that built it. There are other seeming references to this in the game, but they can easily be interpreted in completely different ways. And I'm not here to debate, defend, or debunk this theory. I want to look at it from a pure narrative approach, based on the theme we set. I believe, personally, that this moment does nothing more than show the fleeting feeling of fulfillment and the world effort of getting this amazing and fable quest to its end. Really, let's look at what actually happens. It's a brief explosion sound. The screen fades to white. And then, nothing. Back to the game. Not even the soundtrack returns. Nothing really changed for the better. You may run anticlimactically towards the last star just to stare at your full constellation. You look at your pretty stars and alright, that was it. And that's just what reaching these goals feels like. You get the rushing feeling of achievement and it soon fades into a hollow feeling of regret. Is this really it? All the time for this? I like to think this lack of incentive is completely intentional. Reaching goals that aren't yours to reach isn't the ideal outcome. I especially like that you are locked from reaching them once you fail. It leaves you with that what if question that we always get. That's suffering. But in reality, it's all self-inflicted. You don't really know how underwhelming getting is. If you achieve it, you feel underwhelmed and empty. But if you don't get a second chance. And while it may prove in the long run to be more worthwhile, that feeling that you missed something is always sneaking back into your head. In a way, and at least how I see it, in its purest essence, the hidden ending is the bad ending of the game. Not the true ending or the real one, it's just the bad one. The good ending, to me, is the more forcefully restrained one. The one where you don't get to be disappointed. I know, there's a very big chance that I'm reaching for all of this. And maybe the ambiguity of this, in my opinion, brilliantly crafted game is just making me try to rationalize some simple ideas into these complex conspiracy-like concepts that aren't really there. But all in all, I just hope this at least serves as an interesting discussion in how narrative in gaming allows for such interesting concepts as incentive and parallels to be explored when combined with its overall design and its story structure. This has been Arbitrary Analysis. Thanks for watching.